another video this week, and today I just want to go ahead and show you guys my routine. Once again, this can be considered the Smart Money Beginner's Guide, episode 2. It's just going over the same thing I do. It's not that complicated. So the first thing I want to do is I'm on my AUD-CAD. Today is currently Monday. We had some Australian news today, along with US dollar news, but we're focused on the AUD because we're trading AUD-CAD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you guys what I use for market structure first, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 1 hour, zoom out, then go to the 30-minute, okay? Now, you want to make sure your mouse is zoomed all the way out in trading view, and when you do that, like here, it allows you to see the relevant structure. So we have all this internal structure right here, right? We see all this purple inside of that. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our line here, and we're going to be marking the outer structure. So if we go to the line chart here, what is the outer structure? Well, let's see, the highest highs and the highest lows on the outside of this structure that's holding it together, right? So when do I stop? Well, I'm going to stop once I have 4 pieces of valid structure. So you're probably going, well, you actually have 5. Now the reason I have 5 is because when I'm marking my current structure, this just represents the current range. And this current range hasn't broken this bottom strong piece of structure. But if we go back here, right? If we go back and we go before this red line, we had a low, a major high, okay? And this major high actually broke this previous low here, creating that new low. And then before this previous low, we had a high here that broke another low. So these are 4 valid pieces of market structure that we want to use for trading. Okay, so now I know that my trend is downwards. And how do I know that for sure? Is because with my system, I usually will use the 30-minute chart to the 1 hour for market structure. And then I'll literally, once I do that, I'll zoom into my current price range, which is the current major high and current major low, okay? So once I do that, let's see, let's just go back to the candlestick chart. Let's see what we notice here. Well, when we came to the top of the range here, we have some breakup structures here. And what I like to generally view is I like to look for 2 pieces of structure being broken before I even think to get to a trade. So here, we get the trend lined out. We had this low broken right here, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and label that a break of structure. And then we're going to go ahead and put the settings here and make the white line and all that fun shit. And then we're going to put the BOS towards the bottom. And make sure it's white so you can see it. Okay, so it's just a line with text. Alright, so that broke structure. That's 1. Most people trade after 1, which is fine, but in my strategy, I trade 2. If you don't like that, you can trade your own strategy. I'm not going to, debate you guys in the comment section about whose strategy is better, because at the end of the day, everybody has a strategy that works for them and making millions for them, okay? So we're going to go to the break of structure line again. We're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to change it white, and we're actually going to change the text white again here, okay? So now that you did that, we have 2 pieces of structure that are broken. And what do I also notice? Well, usually now, once I have my structure confirmed, the next step that I like to do, guys, is I like to look for my points of interest. Okay? So what are points of interest, you ask? Think of it as POI. That stands for points of interest. So points of interest are areas of supply and demand. They can be fair value gaps. They can be unhealthy price actions. They can be imbalance. They can be order blocks if you're trading Wyckoff, or another method that uses order blocks. Okay, so 50% of the order block always gets filled. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line in between it. I'm really good at catching it, so I don't need to use other tools. That's 50% of the order block. 50, oh, fuck. This fucking line here. All right, so 50% of the order block. Piece of shit. All right, so I just labeled 50% of that order block, and the reason I did that is because usually 50% gets filled by institutions or banks, Then I'm also going to underline the gap here. And the reason I'm not going to do a tiny gap is because I'm just going to mark the gap from the actual space as a whole instead of just all the way up. And usually, sometimes, well, 70% of the time, they'll come up and fill all the way up to the actual candle wick. But I like to be safe and just go here because we can see a redistribution here or a consolidation here. So we can see a consolidation and we'll see a impulse going downwards and followed by a correction. So that's another way to look at the word redistribution if you're not familiar with that terminology. Redistribution is Wyckoff terminology. Okay, so these are my areas of interest. This line, which is our 50% order block, I'm interested in that because banks and institutions will actually leave order blocks when they want to change direction. And the retailers aren't strong enough to affect the market to make it look like that. So I usually go by, I usually like to assume that it's the banks or it's the institutions, okay? So, what are we going to do now? Okay, well, the first thing is, now that we have our points of interest here, okay, now that we have our points of interest, I am going to scroll down and see if we can find any more, okay? So we have none here. I know this part looks like a gap right here. You're probably wondering if this right there is a gap, but it's not because the previous wick, there are no wicks that are, all the wicks have been closed. That wick closed, that wick closed. This isn't a gap. This over here would be a gap. Okay, you see the difference between that and the first red line that I drew? So that would actually be a gap. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're actually going to, sorry, I was just taking a trade actually now. We're actually going to identify that second gap. So we had another gap here that I'm interested in. So I'm actually drawing and identifying all the areas of interest that I'm interested in seeing a reaction, either a reaction off of these zones or lines, or I'm interested in seeing or just trading itself at these zones and lines. So I'm interested in seeing a reaction when it hits these zones and lines, or I'm interested in trading. And it all depends based on what I see. So I'm not going to explain all that in the video, but today we're looking for price to come up to these zones, and before I actually enter my MetaTrader 4 numbers or 5 numbers and all this stuff, I'm actually going to wait till it comes and fills all these areas in, or an area. It can even come to this first one, and I will actually take a trade once I see my confirmation I want to see, which is another break of structure. So you see this break of structure right here we had in the past, guys? You see these two lines? I'm actually going to want to see this happen again once we come back to these areas of unhealthy price action. And that's going to confirm my trade. Now, when you're more experienced, you can actually just enter right off of these areas, but I'm not going to enter off of here because it's dumb, because there's a 50% order block line I'm interested in right there, and there's also an imbalance. So if it comes up here, I'd rather wait and see if it consolidates first and then taps into one of these. For example, I would rather wait for it to come up here and just consolidate like that, right? And then maybe tap into my 50% order block and then break a structure there, 2 pieces. And then once I see a break a structure like that purple line I just drew, I'm going to put my low and put my high, and then I'm actually going to, this is going to be my new trading range, and I'm looking for trades. And when I'm selling for profit, since this is a downtrend or a bearish market, I'm actually going to be looking for trades at the top of the at the top of the range. So there's a 50% line in the middle of each range, and I like to take trades at the top when I'm selling. And the reason is because those are premium / supply levels. It's just supply and demand. So when you're buying, you're gonna buy low, right? And when you buy low, it has to be a demand. So you would see instead of a bunch of red candles dramatically going down in the market, you would see green candles. So if you're buying, it would look like this. I know you guys already know, but I have to draw it out because people are stupid. So sorry, but that's just the truth. All right, so once I have the lines here, for example, I'm buying, right? This would be my buy, and then I would look to take trades at the bottom of the range in this second purple drawing. So you see how I'm drawing that box right there at the bottom of the range versus this first drawing when it's at the top. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and erase all of that. We're going to go ahead and erase that, guys. And here's what we're going to do. We are going to wait for price to come to these areas, okay, in order to take a trade here. And wait. Why are we taking a trade here in the first place? Well, let's zoom out again. We're on the 30-minute time frame. We are in down structure, so I'm looking to sell for profit. Also, I'm going to give you guys another tip. This tip is about the news. So if you guys are using economic calendar or whatever you guys are using, it's really important to know that you can either trade. They say don't trade on the news days, but that's not true. If you know what you're doing and you're trading with smart money rather than your own strategy that you made up in your head, you can actually trade before, like for example, let's say there was news at 8:30 for the US dollar, which happened, right? Okay, so I can actually let's use a live example. You see how it says that green, you see that green arrow next to 10:30? So I could trade before 10:30. Right now it's 8:56. So I can trade before 10:30, or I can actually trade after 10:30. And the reason why I don't want to trade exactly at 10:30 and enter my trade at 10:30 is because I don't know what direction the market's going, right? I can have a bias, but in reality, we don't know. So it's better to, if we have a setup, if I have a setup and I'm expecting something and it kind of aligns with that news bias, if my setup aligns with the news bias or the news, then I'll actually take a trade before 10:30. So maybe I would get in trade at 8:30 or 6 o'clock. And then by 10:30, while the news happens, the idea is to get out of the trade after news. I mean, before the news. So it's like being Batman, guys. I know it's a dumb example, but it's like Batman gets the work done, or a superhero will do it in the night, right? He does it during the night, and he gets shit done before it comes on the news. So we're doing all this stuff and entering our trades and making money before it reaches the masses, before it reaches the news. Or you can also just wait till after the news, because usually after the news, there tends to be a market correction, okay? There tends to be a market correction after news, okay? So if you guys like this video at all, and if you want to write down everything I said, please rewind and message me on Instagram personally. My Instagram is in the comments and in the description if you guys want to know. I hope you guys having a good weekend. I just wanted to come on here and explain this, explain my trading plan, and explain a little bit of the fundamentals like I just did to help you guys out. And I make these videos to give tips out. I don't have a course or anything. I didn't really make one. I have a private group, but I don't have a course. So instead of make a course, what I will do is I'll put private videos and tutorials inside of my actual group, because usually about courses, I'm not really a big fan of buying something and then not being able to have access to the community. So if you guys want to be a part of an active community where you can actually ask questions, then I would go ahead and I would just join the group that I have. It's in the description. There's a lot of benefits. We also do crypto trading. We do entrepreneur talks. We chill. We listen to music. We do lots of trading. We show our charts. I always share my setup. So every single setup and trade I take, I actually will screenshot it and leave it in the group so people that are learning and improving their trading can model off of mine. And so this group is meant for people that are actually passionate about trading and they're interested in it and have a little bit of experience. If you're an absolute beginner, that's fine too. I can help you there. And if you're not, and you have experience and you just want to improve, just let me know. My Instagram is @dynasty_wolves, not with an F. Dynasty, you know how to spell that. DYNASTY. DY, nasty, dynasty, okay, _WOLVES, wolves. And you can just send me a message. You can even just show me your chart. Show me your charts, ask a question, talk to me, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, guys, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you guys got some value. I'm probably going to make another video later today, so you guys should see some more stuff on my channel, but peace.